Welcome to Vami, where we examine the fact that vegans are mentally ill. Today, we're only going to go over some Instagram comments that I received on this post that I commented on. We're going to get into it in a moment. This is going to be an ongoing thing on my channel. And I like it because vami, V-A-M-I, vegans are mentally ill, also sounds like vomit, and a lot of things that vegans eat makes me want to vomit, so it works pretty well. I commented on this post that was advertised to me, of course, by Mercy for Animals, and I just said that some animals were bred for human consumption and others were bred for human companionship. Or domestication, Okay, let me see how I said it. I said some animals were bred for human consumption and others were bred for human companionship. Get over it. And this woman replied, and so she said something in here that was interesting to me, which is because humans are omnivores. So she's literally saying that she knows that humans are omnivores. She knows that. Humans do, in fact, eat meat and vegetables, right? But she's just denying that by being vegan. If you know that you are something, if you know that you are one way, which is omnivorous, then denying it means you're not right mentally. And this woman was actually somewhat reasonable, and I didn't really talk to her that much, but I got roped into the comments because I commented, and this other guy commented also with very reasonable comments. And later on, this other woman commented back to him being super vitriolic and horrible, which doesn't surprise me because vegans are hangry and they're super unreasonable. Just like this woman who outrightly admits that humans are omnivorous, but she just basically denies that fact by being vegan. I don't know how that's not seen as mentally ill because, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Okay. Also, something else I really want to say about veganism, and here's a good example of it. If one of your life goals is to consistently bring in and emit peace, you can extend that to other sentient beings as well. Choose peace. Be vegan. They often get into this very overly spiritual, very cult-like kind of talking points because that's what their religion is. Their vegorexic, their eating disorder religion. Veganism is very cult-like. I think that one could even argue that it is in fact cult. A cult, not O-C-C-U-L-T. It's a cult. And, a core value of the cult is being mentally ill, apparently. Let me also just reiterate the fact that when you have deprived yourself of food that is actually nutritious, your brain will not function properly. I recently watched that movie, The Whale, and it was pretty good, but, if you've watched enough episodes of My 600-Pound Life, like I have, you can quite literally tell that those people's brains are not functioning properly. They are malnourished and they are overweight, and almost every time they make some teeny tiny changes in their lives and, they lose 11 pounds when Dr. Now told them to lose 50. And then they're like, I'm so shocked. They really are surprised, though. You can tell, in fact, that they really are surprised. So, I'm just saying, when you deprive yourself of food, period, or you deprive yourself of nutritious food, your cognition level will be lower, and you'll be able to tell. It's really not hard to tell. I mean, think about how unreasonable you get when you go too long without eating. Or think about how I get pretty angry. I get hangry, okay? I really do. I get hangry. I get in a goddamn mood. And it's not good. And I know that happens. I know. I'm like, wow, I'm in such a mood. I really need to eat. Okay, anyway, we're going to move beyond this. So this is the woman who I was having a long chat with. And this is somewhat amusing, but also extremely disturbing. So I gave her the prompt. Okay, it's a very, very simple prompt. Anyone could do this. Of saying, there's a cat and there's a human in a burning building. Who do you save? And you can only save one of them. Who do you save? And she refused to answer. And she wouldn't say she would save either one. She kept saying that she would try to save both. And I kept trying to explain to her, I'm not saying you can. I'm not saying you can save both. I'm saying you can only save one. You only have time to save one individual, and it's either going to be the cat or the human. And any sane human being would save the child, right? Any sound-minded, able-bodied person would save the child. The fact of the matter is, we'll get into it just a hair, is like most people actually often panic. Not even with trying to save someone, just being in a bad situation themselves, they panic and they don't act accordingly. Okay? That does happen. Anyway, she said that I don't care about my cats because I don't see them as a priority, because I asked her a hypothetical question of whether she would save a human or a cat from a burning building. Now, I don't know if that was because she was all mad because I had, ruffled her vegorexic feathers. But she literally refused to answer, and I kept trying to get her to answer this hypothetical question of who would you save, a cat or a human from a burning building, and she wouldn't do it. She kept saying, well, I would try to save both. Or like, neither one is better than the other. Let me tell y'all something. One time when I was a kid, we were on a road trip and my mom was driving, and it was a highway. It was like a country road, okay? So there was high speed traffic going one way, the way that we were going, and the other lane, it was only a 2-lane street, was going the opposite direction, also going the same speed, okay? And my mom was driving, and like all of a sudden there were 3 geese in front of us, okay? And my mom, I guess, had more options than I anticipated, but she could swerve slightly one direction and kill 1 goose, or she could swerve slightly in the other direction and kill 2 geese. Or she also could have not swerved at all and killed 3 geese, but she swerved to one side and killed 1 goose. Okay? And unfortunately, that kind of thing happens. Unfortunately, you do actually have to make those types of decisions sometimes. And you can't, my mom was going 50 miles per hour. She didn't have time to think that over. She couldn't stop when there was all this traffic around her and just be like, let's wait for the geese. Because they just popped up out of nowhere, they do that. Of course, it's sad that 1 goose died. But unfortunately, we don't have any of those land bridges for animals on highways. I really wish we did. That's something vegans should focus on, but they don't like focusing on anything that's reasonable. Anyway. So she just wouldn't say which being she would save, which is really disturbing to me. Like, even a vegan should have enough brain capacity or functioning brain level to say, I would save the child, But she just kept saying she wouldn't save either one. And I don't know if that was her, like, again, like I said, being all, like, razzled because I ruffled her feathers, or if this is her just being on, like, a... the people are not always reasonable on IG comment fights. So there's that. But like, I was literally giving her an extremely simple prompt, okay? And if you have a test and the question is multiple choice, you can't select two answers. More often than not, you cannot select two answers. You have to select one because there is, in fact, one correct answer. Or, even if there isn't one correct answer, if you're asked to make a choice between two options, you choose one option. Like, think about if this was like an essay question in college, okay? And it said you have to do this thing or you have to do this thing in this situation. What do you choose to do and why? You choose one option. You don't say, well, I would do both. I would try to do both. I mean, I guess you can say that, but that's not what I was fucking asking her. So this woman saw that I have cats, and then she said that because I asked her this hypothetical question on IG that I don't love my cats and that I don't prioritize my cats because I asked her a hypothetical question about a burning building. I think there's something wrong with her, and that something is likely that she's vegorexic. Anyway. No, the terrible person who has no respect for life would only pick one. A noble person would die trying to save everyone. Okay, so she typed incorrectly here. Not surprising because she's vegorexic. Once again, I'm literally a high-performing athlete, preforming athlete. You're going to have to find another angle besides the eating disorder one. Being well-nourished is step one, and I said, I was upping the ante in the prompt. I said, what if the ceiling is about to cave in and you know it? You can save the child or you can save the cat. Which one do you choose? She said, ceiling's about to have in. Whoever I think about first is who I'm going to make a run for. I'll do whatever I can to keep everyone alive, but everyone getting out of that situation alive is unrealistic. Yeah, well, it's a pretty unrealistic prompt, honestly. But, like, you should still be able to fucking answer it. And then this woman popped up, the pink. And she asked that reasonable young man who was asking reasonable questions early. She said she asked him that top question. And I told her she was unreasonable for having done so. And she said, makes no difference if you stop eating meat. You are in the undesirable side of the human race. Your looks are unkind, just like your personality. Veganism makes you absolutely despise human beings. That's part of the cult mentality. I think it's also because of the religion of needing to hate people who eat meat and needing to hate everyone who's non-vegan. Is it makes you absolutely despise humans, which is really disturbing. And it makes you contemplate not saving a child from a burning building because there's also a cat in the room. Yeah, more delusion. Vegans are just delusional. It's it's in their nature to be delusional because how can you not be delusional? You know. Okay, I think that is everything for now. I feel like there's something else I wanted to say. I just love getting into these debates, honestly, and she did nothing but prove my point. This woman did absolutely nothing but prove my point that veganism is bad for us and veganism harms us and veganism makes you incredibly unreasonable mentally. So, thank you.